Welcome to Real Girl Talk Podcast Radio. Welcome back to Real Girl Talk Podcast Radio. I am your host, Sherry Ricard. I am a medical professional, author, adversity recovery specialist, and co-founder of Silver Lining Wellness Company. I love sharing my faith and bringing you fascinating guests, Friday Fire messages, thinking outside the box, sharing ideas for business, beauty, and lifestyle abundance, and always committed to keeping it real. Now let's level up and let's dive in. Hello, and welcome back to the show. Thank you so much for joining me today. I have an amazing guest, Sarah Dupree, and she is sharing so much information that I know all of you are going to benefit from. But first and foremost, I want to start the show off praying for the people in the Ukraine. It is breaking my heart to hear all of the podcast, the radio, broadcast, and television. Everything that's going on over there is heartbreaking for those. So if you would just take time today and pray for the people in the Ukraine, it would be amazing. Thank you, Jesus, for being with us. Thank you, Lord, that you are watching over those in the Ukraine, and we pray for a resolution in Jesus' name. Thank you so much, guys, for taking that time. My guest, Sarah Dupree, has been a professional in the advertising industry for 17 years. She started out at large agencies, and ultimately she found her place in the marketing world as a commercial photographer. She has shot for large companies, Boot Barn, Sprouts, and Kotex, as well as many local small businesses and entrepreneurs. She helps so many clients experience dramatic high engagement and established authority with high caliber social media and website content. And she is sharing all the goods with us today. Hello, Sarah. How are you doing?
I'm great, Sherry. It's so nice to finally meet you.
Nice to meet you too. And you are in sunny California, and it's in the 80s and beautiful there, you say, and it's 69 here today in South Louisiana, which is, I will just tell you, a rarity. Okay. Normally we're sweating our lady balls off down here in South Louisiana, but it is a beautiful day. And we've been having some really great weather. And I think it's just because of all of the horrible winter storms they're having. We just get like a little of it down here that actually feels good,
Yeah.
So yeah, we don't get snow very often in South Louisiana. When we do, it's like a big deal. Like we shut down businesses and work, and nobody can drive and all that kind of crazy stuff. We manage hurricanes, not snowstorms.
Well, I mean, we get snow here, but you got to visit it. You got to go and visit it. Yeah. It's up in the mountains. You got to just spend the day. You got to go visit it, but it's here.
That's nice. Yeah. See, no, you're not visiting it here. You got to really travel in order to be in South Louisiana and go see snow. But yeah, we'd rather go to the beach here. That's just the way it is. Unless, I don't know. I've never been that ski kind of person. Talking about that, what is really exciting is you are a photographer and you're going to be talking to us about photos. So how cool would it be to actually have some photos from snow? Because I would not have that opportunity unless I was actually on a trip. But let's talk about that a little bit, because you do specialize in this and marketing plans for social media. So everybody that's listening that wants to be able to take better pictures and really capture an audience on social media, whether it be professionally or personally, whatever your reasons are, it's really cool that you're here and you can chat about that with us. So we'll kind of start off and talk about a marketing plan and photography and why that's even important in business.
First of all, snow and photography. Yes, please. Oh my gosh. All that beautiful white just bouncing off of, it's heaven. So I wish I had more snow around me. We would be out there shooting at it all the time. But I mean, beach is also beautiful. It's, for me, as far as photography goes, it's about who you are, where you live, and really just capturing what is authentic to you. So for me, as a Southern California person, yeah, you know what? Yeah, we do have snow, but that's not a big part of who we are. So I wouldn't capture that very often, but it is something that I love to visit, with the photography and in life. And then as far as the social media marketing plan goes, photography is, I like to break my marketing down into 3 separate days. And photography is day 3 of that. So as important as I find it to be, It's actually down the list, and it's probably the most fun part of the marketing, because it's an adventure, right? Like you get to go out
Yeah.
and show people what it is that you do and what it is that you're passionate about, and you get to go out there and meet amazing people. And day one, I mean, before you can do anything else, you have to sit down, you have to create that plan. So what I like to do is I'll map out 30 ideas, just brainstorm, right?
Okay.
Doesn't have to be perfect. It just has to be in line with my target audience. And it has to be in time with what's going on in the world, whether it's a season, what's going on with current events, what's going on in your audience's world. So, like, let's say that your audience is really into marketing, right? Let's say that's what they want to do. They want to know more about marketing. They're going to be following people like Gary Vee. They're going to be following. So you want to see what he's discussing. What's in his world? What are these people finding out? And what are your opinions on that? So not just reiterating what it is that these people are saying or what's being said in their worlds, but what your opinions are on those as well. That's where your content's going to come in, and really writing all those down, writing down what it is that they're addressing, what they're struggling with, what their fears are, what their goals are, and what you've done in your life that you've mastered, that you've experienced, how those things can help them. Those are great things for like the tips, how-tos, inspiration, motivation. Yeah, that's a big bulk of what it is that you create. But then you also have to keep in mind too, you're planning out for the entire month. What things do you have coming up in your month? Do you have birthdays that you want to share, anniversaries, fun national days? National Day Calendar is one of my favorite resources, because you go in there and you go, oh, it's National Pizza Day. I'm gluten-free, and I know a lot of my target audience is also struggling with finding, good gluten-free pizza recipes or pizza or restaurants that have, amazing gluten-free crusts. It doesn't necessarily have to line up with what it is that you do, but it does have to line up with your target audience, right?
Yeah, that makes sense, because I think sometimes we feel like that we have to copy off of other people, and then that takes away from who you actually are and who your audience is. So whether you are aspiring to be a social media influencer, or maybe you already are an influencer, or just have a business, a boutique. I have girlfriends that have boutiques, and I think it's really great that they're always taking pictures of their clothes in the boutique, but it's almost like, okay, I feel like I'm shopping online when I'm looking at your social media. I'd rather you talk about the colors that are coming up for fall, or the accessories that go well with certain outfits. So let's just kind of grab an idea. Let's talk about maybe a realtor.
Yeah.
We have
Oh my gosh.
realtors. So
Yes.
some advice that you can give to someone that is in real estate that wants to map out 30 days. What kind of pictures would you expect for them to post to grab an audience's attention?
Yeah, this is actually really great, because I do work with a lot of realtors, and I think that the mistake that a lot of businesses in general make is there's like an 80-20 rule, and they flip it. So 80% of your content should be educational, entertaining. It should be something people are coming to because they're enjoying and consuming your content, right? And then 20% can be the sales, because you're a business and you have to make money. So you do have to put out there what it is that you do every once in a while, right? They're naturally going to, as they're enjoying your content, they're naturally going to fall into your funnel, and they're going to see what it is that you do. You don't have to shove it down their throats. With somebody like a realtor, yes, you have to show your open houses, your, houses that are for sale, your yay, we close the escrows. Yeah, all those. But I feel like what a lot of realtors do is they spend a ton of their time and their energy on social media only talking about those things. They could be helping people who are looking to move find really great, we're going back to pizza, find really great restaurants, in the area that they've enjoyed. They could be, talking about family friendly events in the area. If you lived here, this is what your life would look like, kind of things, right? There are a ton of realtors out there. It's a super saturated market. 100% of the realtors I've asked, if I ask them, what makes you stand out from other realtors? 100% of them have said, my clients are my friends. They all turn into my friends. That's great. But let's break that down a little bit further, right? Like, what does it mean to be your friend? Like sharing big life experiences, like buying a house. Obviously, that's going to be a natural transition for them to become friends to you. But it's also, having the same values, beliefs, interests, things like that. So if you're going to find those wonderful ideal clients that are going to click with you and become your friends after the sale, that process is going to start in your social media, as people are sharing your services word of mouth, like, oh my gosh, you're buying a home in this area, you have to check out this person. They're going to go over to your social media, they're going to check you out, and they're going to see, do I connect with this person on a deeper level other than just being a realtor? Because there's a lot of them out there.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
They have to know, yes, I feel a connection to this person already.
This is really good stuff. These are good tips because you can utilize these tips in whatever you're doing, whatever your business is. And I think a lot of times we have people too that are, I don't want to say jacks of all trades, because that's not really the word I'm looking for. It's more of they have a lot of different interest, and maybe there's 3 or 4 interests, whether they may be a confidence coach, and then they may be a speaker, or they may be, and they have all of these things, but it doesn't reflect on their social media exactly what they do, because they do dabble in so many different things. So do you advise people like that to kind of narrow it down, or just to create this 30-day and do so much that has to do with speaking and maybe so much that has to do with their coaching that they do? How do they bring everything together without losing an audience that is maybe attracted to one thing that they do, but not necessarily the other 2 or 3? Does that make sense?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, people are naturally going to gravitate to you. They're going to follow you because, yes, your information is helping them in some way, but also they just feel connected to you, right? I think that just by being your authentic self, just sharing why it is that these things are important, not just to them, but to you too.
I was talking to somebody the other day, and she said that she has a huge box, and I do too, probably not as big as hers, of all these different devotionals and journals. And I started thinking about that, Sarah. I was like, you know what? I need to start sharing some of these devotionals, because I have my own that I created, the Create Your Life 30-day devotional and lifestyle workbook. However, there's a lot of journals and devotionals out there from other really creative, beautiful women. And I thought, I need to start sharing those on my social media. Now, I do highlight a lot of my friends' businesses, because I'm a true believer. Hear me out, ladies, if you're listening to me. If you have a friend that has a business, you should support that business. Does that mean that you have to buy every product or every service? No, but you have a social media account and you can highlight your friend's business with a link, because now you don't have to have 10,000 followers on Instagram, which was a big complaint of people that didn't have that before. In your stories, you can put a link now to different things. I am a true believer that you should be highlighting your friends' businesses, because you would want the same as well. And so I do highlight a lot of my friends' businesses and their products and services that I love on my Instagram stories. But journaling and devotionals are a big part of my life. I do that every day. I spend 5 or 10 minutes writing. I have thoughts that come in my head. I write them down, and I read affirmations and quotes every single day. So I'm thinking, why I should be highlighting those right on my Instagram for other people, because it's part of my life and I know it helps me. So is that kind of what you're getting at? Take what you are, your authentic self, and what you do on a daily, and just kind of share it with your audience?
Yeah, share it with your audience in a way that you have to know who your target audience is and where their struggles, again, their struggles, fears, goals, all of that. And make sure that when you're sharing that, you're addressing what it is that they're going through in their life, where they're at, and how sharing that information is going to help them in some way, or entertain them. You have to help them or entertain them,
That's true. Help them or entertain them. That's really good tip. So how can we take better pictures? I've seen some people are struggling.
Lighting is a huge, like 99.9% of a photo is not in the photographer. It is. I mean, there's a huge part of it that's a photographer. It's not in the equipment. I can tell you that for sure. There are so many photographers out there that prove it time and time again, like with challenges where they go, I'm going to go take pictures with this child's camera. And it's like, dear God, it's high fashion. How did you do that? Because they know lighting is a huge portion of that. I mean, making sure that you understand what good light is versus what bad light is. Because if you're not paying attention to your lighting, that's what's going to set your pictures apart. If you want to know more about lighting, I'm coming out with an app that's going to release mid-March, and it's going to have lighting classes, posing, anything that you could possibly need to know so that you can take better pictures on your own. And it's called the Exposure app. It'll be at exposure-app.com. I didn't mean to throw myself out there like that, but it was just kind of perfect.
Nice. No, we need help, right? There's a lot of people that need help.
Exactly. Yeah.
And they hide from social media, and because they really don't know what to post. They don't know what to say. They're not sure if anyone's going to be paying attention. But my thing is, I'm always faith over fear. So I think that you have to step outside your comfort zone and conquer some of those fears, especially if you want to be an influencer in the field that you're in, or in a field that you're aspiring to be in. I think that, and you feel like that you have experience in education or whatever it is, I think you have to put yourself out there. And social media is such an amazing way to be. Now, there's a lot of negative things about social media, right? Not everybody's life is all unicorns, rainbows, and rosé. We
all
know
the time.
You can make it look like it is with photography, but we also have to be really real to what we're doing. And I think it's important to put really, decent pictures out there, but they don't all have to look like a photographer took those pictures, because then people aren't going to believe who you are. But I think people should take advantage of this. I want to say free, because years ago it was actually free. Now you have to really buy ads to reach an audience, but you can still put yourself out there and use hashtags and things like that to reach people that maybe you haven't reached before. So give us some tips on how, and lighting is a really good tip, but give us some tips on how to take self-portraits without looking like you just took a self-portrait.
Absolutely. I think the number one thing would be to take the camera out of your hand, tripod, invest in a tripod for whatever camera you're using. If you're doing I've done this because I don't always have the ability to hire me, so I have to kind of hire me. So I'll actually drag my tripod around town, into the coffee shops, into the places.
Cool.
But what's great about that is that, you're kind of doing something off the wall, and people are naturally going to ask you, like, what are you doing?
Why are you taking pictures of yourself in Starbucks?
You bring business cards with you because it's a natural way to open that conversation, right? Oh, well, I'm a photographer and this is for my social media. Here, come check me out. Like, it's just a really natural, easy way. And then, oh, I have a business. I need a photographer. Yeah, you do.
Yeah, you do.
Yeah, of course you do. Here you go. Give me an email. Like right now. Not right now. I'm busy, obviously, right?
Right. Yeah.
Need my tripod. Yeah.
I just got an idea for people that are hairstylists. It just popped in my head. I would love to see action photos of people actually cutting hair and styling hair and talking about different hairstyles to wear at different events or different times, different seasons, like a lot of people
that'd be great.
Wearing their hair up during the summer months, and, different ways to wear your hair up or down, or actually getting permission from your clients to be able to take pictures of them cutting your hair and being able to highlight them, because those clients are going to want to repost that on their story, which just advertises you. So anyway, that just kind of thought just popped in my head. I was thinking about my hairstylist that just had a baby, and I was thinking, I got to give her some of these ideas.
Well, absolutely. And this is the thing, like somebody like a stylist, you want to stand out from other stylists. Don't post the picture of people's hair. You go into the thing and it's just hair. I get it. The hair is great, but you and 10 other people in this building alone could make my hair look great. Why do I want to come to you? Because you're a hairpist. I want to talk to you. I want to know that who I'm talking to with my problems, because I'm going to bring them to you. I'm going to feel comfortable discussing those things with, and walk out with great hair.
Right. That makes me think about my lash girl, and she listens to my podcast. So she's probably going to crack up laughing. But the first thing I do when I lay down and she starts doing my lash extensions, I'm like, okay, so what's going on in your life?
Yep. Exactly. I mean, they're another one where it's like, you're going to naturally just gravitate towards telling them things and having these like conversations because you're sitting there for so long with them, and you're going to gossip, you're going to chat, you're going to have a great time. And I think people miss that step in what it is that they're selling. They're not just selling the great hair. They're not just selling the beautiful lashes. Yes, that is what they're selling, but they're also selling the experience, and for somebody like that, you are a huge part of that experience.
that. What about products? If somebody is selling a product, what's a better way rather than just doing a photo of you in the product or just, a product sitting? What are some creative ways to highlight products without looking salesy?
Utilizing, I think, influencers is a great way to market that
Nice.
for products. Product-based businesses can benefit from influencers hugely. And also lifestyle imagery as far as that goes. So it's not just, this is me with my purse. Like, this is me with
Yeah.
my purse going out, like you have to
Mm,
show, you have to be able to put your clients in the mindset of what it would be like, the experience that they will have, not just like, I'm going to look good. Like, no, I'm going to have a great time with this dang purse. I'm going to go take it out to the bar and I'm going to go find me a man. I don't know why. That's what this purse is doing for me, but yes.
yeah, exactly. So you take a picture with the best looking man in the room and go, yes, if you have this purse, this is who you could be dating.
Yeah. Oh, did you want me to buy you a drink with my beautiful purse?
With my beautiful purse. That is so true. Now, what
Yeah.
about services? So there's a lot of people, let's talk about, services. I don't know whether it could be, again, coaches or accountants or whatever it is. If you have a service, it's a little bit different than highlighting a product.
Mhm.
How can you do that without looking so salesy?
Again, just being there to serve your audience, being there to make sure, keeping their goals, their struggles, their fears in mind, and being there to serve them. You shouldn't be afraid of giving out too much information. Like, don't
Mm,
hoard information. A lot of people
yeah,
do that where it's like, I don't want to share that because then they won't come to me. No, you give them little pieces, because not only that, it's social media. You got 5 seconds with them anyways. So you can't give them all the things at once. They don't want all the things at once. They want little pieces. They want to be
right.
enticed and helped in little bits and ways. And then they take that with them in their daily life. And you got to keep showing up at that point, because now you've
Right.
kind of put that nugget in their mind, and they've tried it now and they know, yes, that really did work. They're going to keep coming back for more and more and more until it's like, you know what? I need the full, like, let's say it's a coach. I need the full hour. I just need an hour with her because these little
Right.
pieces have already done amazing things for my life. I need to talk to her. I need the full hour. And they're going to
Yeah,
sit there. They're going to watch you for a while. It's not going to happen right away. It's not going to happen
true.
overnight. You got to keep showing up.
Well, and I think too, people tend to, I've said this before, we buy and we follow people that we like, know, and trust. And so it takes a while to build up a like and a knowing and a trust of someone before you buy the products, or before you do the service, or before you just follow them. I mean, with my podcast, you think about my podcast, I'm all about real girl talk, where I highlight women that
Mhm.
talk about business, beauty, lifestyle, leadership, community, faith. I mean, we talk about so much. It's, I don't know whether I should be posting a cross or somebody putting on eyeshadow. I mean, it's just, we're always talking about so many things. Is that sometimes I get lost in what is the thing to highlight? Do I just highlight the show, or just, highlight the individual women, because there's so much that we talk about, and my audience follows me and downloads the
Mhm.
show because they know I'm going to have guests that's going to be able to bring them some type of value. So I think
Mhm.
sometimes podcasters do get lost in that if they have an array of guests, and your podcast isn't just, we have podcasts that out there that just talk about marketing.
Mhm.
So anyone that knows about marketing is going to just follow that podcast. Whereas
Yeah.
in Real Girl Talk, I could have a CEO one week, I could have a celebrity the next week, or you could get a Friday Fire faith-filled message from me the next week.
Yeah.
It's all about real girl talk. What does someone do like that has a huge array of guests like myself? And I'm all about faith and inspiration and all of that good stuff.
Absolutely. Well, again, you just got to keep your target market in mind. How is
Yeah.
this information that you're sharing going to benefit them? Just going
Right.
back to that every single time. Yes, there is a wide range of people that you're interviewing and that you're going to be able to discuss with these people, and ideas, your own ideas. I mean, that you're going to want to discuss with these people. Keeping in mind, there's some sort of overarching audience that
Mm-hmm.
is underneath all of that. These people are varied, but your audience is your audience. There is a very specific person that you're talking to, and you're bringing all these different experiences into their life
Right.
because they all fit under that umbrella. And just no matter how varied it is, as long as it fits that audience and you're keeping them in mind when you're sharing the information, it's going to resonate with them.
Yeah. Thank you for that, because I know that there are people out there that are listening right now that says, I have no earthly idea where I should start on social media, or they think I don't have to put everything on social media all of the time. And really, I think a lot of people that say that, it's because they don't know what to put.
Mhm.
So the defense is, I don't know why everybody puts everything on social media because you really don't need to do that. Well, if you're in business to make money,
Mhm.
there are things that you should be putting on social media. If you, whatever your business is, whether it be a product or a service, or maybe you're a leader,
Mhm.
in your industry, or you want to be thought of as a leader.
Mhm.
When people came to me before and they said, Sherry, I don't know what to write a book on. Can you help me write a book? I'm like, well, what is your passion about? Or what do you do for a living? Or what do you want to do for a living that you know about? Are you a
Mhm.
cook? Are you a coach? Are you a therapist? Are you a hairdresser? I don't care what it is. Anybody can write a book on anything that
Mhm.
brings you to another level of being superior and being an expert in that arena. And
Yeah.
so just like with photography, when you're starting this app, of course we're going to go to you, Sarah, because you are an expert in your arena. And I think the same is with social media. We need to adapt some of that into our social media and really just highlight. We don't have to reach everybody.
Mhm.
Not everybody's going to like you.
Mhm.
That's
Yeah.
just the way it is, but you are going to reach your target audience. So
Mhm.
how do we reach a broader target audience, whether it be, I'm not the TikTok person, but I know TikTok is really popular. So I want to talk about that.
Mhm.
Doing reels, what do you suggest as far as doing reels? Is there somewhere that people can go to learn how to do reels on TikTok, or now you can do reels on Instagram? What is your suggestion?
I think that as well as keeping your audience's goals and struggles and fears in mind, you have to keep your own as well. Like, what are your goals as a business owner utilizing social media?
Right.
Are you there to grow an audience? Or are you there to sell your services and products? If you're an influencer, your goals are going to be very different. Absolutely, you're there to grow your audience. So yeah,
Mhm.
you're going to want to be on the reels, because reels right now are the fastest way to grow. People who are influencers that are building those social media platforms, that's their full-time job. They're in there creating reels every day. They're in there posting pictures every day on their stories every day.
Mm,
Not everybody is utilizing social media in the way that an influencer would, because that's not
right.
their job. Their job is, to be the coach, to be the hairstylist. And they're using social media as a way to add that layer of trust, because
Mhm.
again, if you're just out there using your social media as like a sleazy salesperson, sleazy like used car salesman, like, hey, come on in, I got a special
Yeah,
today, then
right.
you're taking away that opportunity to build trust with your potential clients. I look at it not so much as trying to find ways to service a larger audience, but trying to service the audience that you have, and your audience will
Mm.
naturally grow to what it needs to be. Like, you don't need millions of followers to have a successful business. You just don't.
What do you need? Where does somebody start to actually, not necessarily, you can have all the followers in the world, but that doesn't make them customers. You
It doesn't
right?
mean, yeah, you can have millions of followers and still a business that's failing. It doesn't, like,
Mm,
your business's success is not necessarily reflected by the amount of followers that you have.
right.
And I think that a lot of people fall into that trap where they think, I get it too, because one of the things I ask my clients when they first start working with me is, what are your social media goals? And one of the absolute first things they say is, I want to gain followers. And then I have to, go, okay, well, if that's your goal, then I might not be the best person for you,
Mm,
because that's not what I'm going to do for you. What I'm going to do for you is create a place for people to land where they can build that extra layer of trust.
mm,
Influencers often work with me, and they understand that, yes, they want to gain followers, but that's not what they're coming to me for. They're coming to me so that they can help their services create that.
right.
So again, keeping your goals for social media in mind, and why you have those goals. Are you just out here trying to be popular because, hey, it feels good? That's fine. You like, that is
Right.
totally okay. Then, I mean, then do that. Like it, but
Yeah.
if your goal is to make money, then you need to make sure that all of your actions towards your social media are in alignment with that, because it is hugely time consuming,
Yeah,
and
no, it is. I mean,
it's an investment.
some people have to hire an entire team to be
Yeah.
able to, I mean, a large team. I
Hmm.
do have a small group that I depend on. I have an agent that handles all of my sponsored ads and all of that. There's no possible way, Sarah, that I would have the time to go out and search for people that wanted to put an ad on my show.
Yeah.
There's no possible way. I mean, even if you go to my Instagram right now and you go to the link tree, it has in there, do you want to sponsor on my show? And that link goes directly to my ad agent because you're not actually going to be communicating with me. You're going to communicate with John or Jill, and they're
Mhm.
going to send that to me, because you do have to have a team that is, in order to be able to be successful, to do certain things. But there are things that you can do yourself, like taking photos and doing posting on social media, that I
Yeah.
like the idea of you saying, carve out some time to do a 30-day window. And,
Mhm.
and even if you don't feel like that you can do that many, carve out 14, right?
Mhm.
Just say, what am
Yeah.
I going to post for the next 14 days, and do that twice a month.
Give that a
And
twist, absolutely. But if you have the goal in mind that you want to have all 30 days planned out, it's so time saving. Like again,
yeah,
your time is an investment into, I mean, when I say that social media is an investment, I don't mean go out and buy the photographer and all the people. I mean, it's an investment as far as your time goes. I mean, how
right.
much do you charge somebody hourly to work with you? You're losing that every single moment that you spend doing something else. If you sit down, and like I said, I do 3 days. So day one is nothing but brainstorming. And I do these in 4 hour chunks because using your creative energy is really draining. Like, I don't think people understand how
Mm,
draining it is unless you're in a creative field. But when you're
yes,
done
it
with that
is.
4 hours, it's like, oh dear, like coffee is not going to fix this.
Right. No, it is. It's
Yeah.
exhausting.
So I do these in 4 hour chunks. So when I say 3 days, it's not 3 full days because I think I would die. Day one is brainstorming. Day two is copywriting, where I sit down and I write down all the copy that goes with all the ideas that I just brain dumped out, right?
Mm,
And with that, I put a little note as to what I want the image, reel, video, whatever it is that I want to go with that. And then day three is I go grab my tripod or my friend or, my photographer, and we go out there and we go get all the things done. And then
nice.
that way I do these in a Google Doc because I don't really schedule my stuff ahead of time. I check my Instagram every day to see what my peak times are. And
Right.
I'll set an alarm for myself, and then I'll go in. It takes a minute. It takes a minute every day to pull it off my Google Doc and post it.
Mm. Oh, that's a great idea. Yeah, it should be
Yeah.
right there and it should be handy. And I think you brought up something talking about peak times. There are general peak times, right?
Mhm.
Monday through Sunday, and then are dates as well as times in general people look at, but you really have to look at yours. When
Mhm.
is your audience looking at your social media? So, speaking in general, what have you found to be some of the peak days and times that people are usually scrolling through social media? And it's probably all the time, but there are peak
Well,
times.
yeah. Well, what's funny is, like you said, it's different for everybody. For me, my peak times are 9 a.m. and noon most weekdays. And I
Yeah.
know Saturdays and Sundays are going to be fun days. I'm not expecting to
Yeah.
get much out of this, but I'm still going to show up because I'm going to show up. But I know that those days are not going to perform well. And
Right.
they're just kind of brain candy, just a little something fun.
True. Yeah. Those
Yeah.
could be quote days, right?
Yeah, exactly. Like days when these are the days where you're educating or you're entertaining. These are days where I'm entertaining more than anything, or I'm asking questions of my audience like, hey, like where could I go this weekend? Does anybody know any hikes? Those are good days
Nice.
for that because it does help to increase the engagement on days like that because people are like, oh, I do know some good hikes. Yeah. So brain candy. Those are brain candy days for me.
Yeah, that's good. I like the brain candy ideas because, yeah, Saturdays and Sundays are not big days for me either.
Don't waste your
I,
good content on the days that don't perform well.
Right, right. Yeah, because people play on the weekends, but I think what we forget is that's a great time to be doing videos that you can save for later.
Mhm.
Whether you're going somewhere with your kids and then you want to talk about activities for children, whatever. Maybe
Yes.
I don't know,
Mhm.
that's might be what you do. But you could do that. And I think people think they have to set up. You have to set up the scene and set up the photo, when in actuality, people just want to see the real thing. And so
Mhm.
you could, no matter where you are, I think it's cool that you have your tripod wherever you go, because you never know. I mean, you could have a little table tripod. It doesn't have to be a big old tripod that you put on the floor. And you can take that wherever you go. Remember, I don't even know, do people still use selfie sticks? I don't see those really that
Well,
much.
I don't see them often, but to each their own. I
Yeah,
don't recommend the, I
the
to me,
stick.
Yeah, because to me, I think that it's better to have a picture where all your limbs are there,
Oh,
like
yeah.
in every picture, and people will naturally, without somebody sitting there watching it, what they'll do a lot of times with posing is they'll lose a hand, they'll lose a leg, they'll lose a foot because they don't have somebody outside of them going, oh, can you make sure that you like bring your hand over to your jacket, or hey, hold
Yeah.
this cup of coffee so that you bring that hand back into the picture because you'll turn sideways and it's like, oh, where'd your hand go? Here, have some coffee. Oh, there it
There it is.
is.
It's funny that you say that because my original logo that I did for Real Girl Talk, I went to a photographer, right, to take this picture. But what was so crazy is my hand was tucked behind my body. I liked the picture. I used it for a long time. But the one thing that my daughter said was, Mom, you look like you're missing a hand. And I never noticed it until
Makes
she
people
told me.
uncomfortable. Where's her hand?
I know. It was like, I never noticed it until she said it. And then all I could focus on in that photo every time I looked at it was that I was missing a hand. And so I changed it for 2022 because it drove me crazy.
Yeah. And I mean, that's another thing too. So, I mean, people will come and they'll have insecurities.
Yeah.
I'll hear all the time, like, yes, I want to book with you, but I need to lose 5 pounds. Yes, I want to book with
Um,
you, but I'm waiting for my hair to do something, like waiting for my hair to grow. Yes, I want to book with you, but insert excuse. And
mm,
if you're honest with your photographer ahead of time and you tell them what your insecurities are, they can be fixed with multiple of things depending on what it is. It can be fixed with lighting if it's bad skin. It can be fixed
yeah.
with posing if it's a body image issue, or stylist if it's having to do with your body. It can be fixed with Photoshop if all else fails.
Mm,
It's not, I don't do Photoshop automatically because I feel like it's kind of insulting.
yeah.
But if somebody asks me and is honest with me, like, hey, I'm not comfortable with my neck. I get that a lot, like I'm not
Yeah.
comfortable with, the wrinkles in my neck. That's totally fine. Let's smooth those out for you so you can feel comfortable and confident when you post your picture. Yeah, just
Right.
going back to taking better pictures for yourself, right? Just keeping in mind posing, stylist, like, making sure that you're dressing for your body type properly.
Right.
Those are other great ways to make sure that you're showing up as your best self in your picture too.
Yeah, there's so many reasons why it's really good to get the advice from somebody like you and a photographer because you can take pictures and you can do certain lighting and take a few of those, but you really do need direction. You need somebody on the other side of the camera to say, "Hey, turn just a little bit because I know you're not going to like the way that looks in the picture." It's
Mhm.
kind of hard if you're doing it yourself. Photography is a great thing. It's when my book came out, Strong Women, the front cover is just my face and it's major photography. And I remember my husband looked at it and he goes, wow, this is gorgeous. And I was like, well, that's
Aw.
not what you say to me on a daily.
He said the
But
picture was gorgeous. He thinks you're gorgeous every
yeah,
day.
but if you look at the cover of my book, it's like, oh wow, that's pretty good. Photography is awesome, you know, because you want to put your best foot forward, of course, if you're writing a
Yeah.
book or you're doing a show or whatever it is. But for every day, there are great, and those are wonderful tips that you gave everyone in order to be able to do those things because time is money and sometimes you need to just take a few things and move on, but I think it's important that you do plan. Now also I want to preface this by saying this should not consume your life. So talk to us about balance, somebody that gets caught up in all of this, the balance of knowing when to turn it on and when to turn it off so you're not living in social media.
Absolutely. Yes. So this is something, to be completely honest, it's something I struggle with, like screen time addiction, right? Where
Yeah.
you have a minute, you have a second, you're sitting there waiting for your kid to get picked up at school, or all the little, I feel like now it's just every minute, every second has to be filled with something now.
Mhm.
I've actually started child proofing my phone, like child locking myself out of my phone after a certain amount of time. Like, you do not want to spend more than this amount of time on your phone. Because if you look at your
Right.
phone, again, look at your phone and see what your screen time is. What's
Mm.
your hourly rate? It's going to scare you how much money you're losing.
That's a good way to put it. Yeah. You know
Yeah,
what? If too much screen time, and you guys need to be doing a lot more podcast listening.
yeah, absolutely. Because when you turn on the podcast, your phone goes off and it doesn't count on your screen time.
Ah, there
There
you
you
go.
go.
And you learn. There's so much
Mhm.
to learn from a podcast. It's like you learn and then you could take that into action. I
Mhm.
always, faith without action is dead. And I think people that do listen to podcasts that help them learn and grow and get inspired, or whatever it is, whatever podcast you're listening to and what you're hoping to gain from that, taking that and putting that into action is, to me, that's an achiever. That's somebody that's going to be successful in whatever they're doing. But just to scroll on social media and listen to podcast radio or whatever it is, just to kill time, you're actually living, to me, this is my opinion, you're
Mhm.
living in someone else's life and you're forgetting to live your own.
Yeah, absolutely. I don't want to say that you shouldn't set time aside for that, right? Like you should be
Yes,
able to have your downtime where you can go live in somebody else's
right.
life. It's okay. I mean, whatever that might be. If that escape time for you is social media, then set time aside for mindless social media usage and set
Yes.
time aside for purposeful social media usage. So if you're going to be posting, interacting 15 minutes before and 15 minutes after your post is going to help to boost that post, help get it seen by the right people, the people you're really trying to help, and come from a place of service as far as that goes too, not just like, hey, I'm going to get out there and I'm going to have more people see that I have a sale today. Like, I think that's the biggest mistake people make with social
Mhm.
media is they're just out here like, I need to make a sale. It's like, it's going to happen. It's going to happen naturally. Social media is, a lot of people go, I'm not seeing an ROI on my social media. I'm mostly word of mouth. I guarantee you in this day and age, your word of mouth people are going to check you out on social media before they book with you. But they're not going to
True.
go, I found you on Instagram. They're going to say, I found you by Bob. Bob told me about you. But before they made that phone call, they probably went and checked you out on Instagram first.
You are so right, Sarah, because that is something that we do here at Real Girl Talk Podcast. Because I probably get pitched, not kidding you, I've lost count of how many pitches that we actually get on the show. And one of the things that we do is we look at the bio and then we go to the social media. We
Mhm.
don't necessarily look at their followers, because I don't care whether you have 200 followers or 20,000 followers. I look at the content, I look at video. I want to see how you sound before you come on the show. And that's just something you do. And I'm telling you guys, if you're looking for a job, oh, be careful what you're putting on social media, because your employer is looking at your social media. Now, you may say that it's private, but you have to be careful, because there are certain photos that you can put on Facebook, and you have to remember to mark that photo every time as private. So you will notice that when you go to somebody's Facebook, some show up private and some do not.
Yep.
So it just depends on what you're doing. If you want to talk about your business, you don't want to be going on social media and throwing out F bombs, right?
Mhm.
If you are in ministry, you don't want to be going out there and talking about how there's too much hate in the world and you're one of them. I mean, you have to be careful with that. So yeah, I appreciate that. And I think that mindless activity is great. My mindless activity is sitting down at night and watching TV. I'll
Yeah.
tell my husband, I said, I need a mindless activity, and
Mhm.
I'll watch a show. We'll watch a movie together, and it just kind of takes you away. And I think you
Absolutely.
need that if you're at the doctor's office and you want to put on your headphones, listen to podcasts if it's going to inspire you. And I think it's really important to follow people on social media that do fill you up,
Yep.
whether it be entertaining or empowerment or educational, whatever it is. I don't think that people should be following those that bring negativity into your world, because garbage in, garbage out is what my mama always used to say. And
Absolutely.
if you're constantly putting in negativity, that's what's going to come out of you. So I think
Mhm.
it's really important to be careful about who you're following and who you're learning from, because some people may claim to be an expert and they're not really an expert in that field. So I think it's important too that you know exactly who you're following and why.
Yeah. Yeah.
You
And I
know?
mean, have you ever heard that saying that you're the collective sum of the five people you hang out with the most?
Yes,
That
yes,
includes the people you're following too. Like if you're hanging
absolutely.
out with, it might be virtual, but there's still who you're hanging out with. And if that's who you're consuming, part of your collective sum.
That's right. And and the algorithms now for Instagram is whoever you like or it's like if you do so many likes on so many posts or you comment, they'll show you more of that particular person. So
Mhm.
then your circle just got smaller.
Mhm. Yeah.
You know, and you may be following 2,000 people or 500 people or whatever it is, but you're not going to see all of those. You're going to, the way they do it now is who you're commenting on and who you're liking is who you're going to see. So if you're following people and you're not really seeing their feed anymore, it may be because you stopped commenting on their feeds, or you stopped, clicking the little heart, and stopped watching their Instagram stories, and they'll start showing you their feed less and less. So
Yeah.
make sure that if there are people that you really want to continue to follow, ladies, make sure that you are doing a like every now and then and commenting. And so you don't miss anything from those people that you really want to follow out
Yeah.
there. So good
Yeah.
point. Good point.
Well, and then you said something earlier too, that, you're always making sure to support your friends, and that supporting them doesn't mean that you have to purchase from them. I
Right.
wholeheartedly agree with that. Just because you're not in a place where you can maybe support your friend monetarily, that doesn't mean that you can't support them virtually. Share their products, like their posts so that they get seen more, comment on their posts for them. Whatever you can do, if it's somebody that you're passionate about helping, make sure that you're doing your part for them, like help them get there, because the more that things are interacted on, the more that they're seen. So when you
Right.
comment and you like somebody's post, that's not, that's not unseen. It's not you know what I mean? It's not,
Right.
no, not what the word I'm looking for is, but it's purpose. Like there's purpose to it. There's,
Right. It is. And I think anything that we put out there, we always get back in some way of return, and it's free. I mean,
yeah,
all you have to do is hit that little, what is that? It looks like a little paper airplane or something
yeah,
on,
exactly. The
on
paper airplane.
Instagram, and share it to your story. I mean, your story's only up for 24 hours. You can share it to your story. You can put a link, not put a link. It doesn't matter, because they can tap it and it goes back to that person. It's free. So you're
Yeah,
putting something in your story that you like, that highlights you, or, that maybe it's something you listen to or you watch or somebody you follow, and you're putting it on there, and you're supporting them. You don't realize it, but you're supporting them, and it costs you nothing but literally 3 seconds,
yeah.
if that much, to support somebody else. So I'm glad you highlighted that, because I think that's a big deal. I think that us as women need to understand that it's important that we straighten each other's crowns. We don't try to remove them from other people's heads, because helping
Absolutely.
someone else shine doesn't dull your own shine. So I think it's super important that we support one another. But before we go, I want you to tell everybody a little bit about the app. You said it's going to launch in March.
Yeah, mid-March is but for now, if you go to exposure-app.com, you can sign up so that you get notified as soon as that goes live. It's going to be a great tool, not just for how to take better pictures, but what to do with them once you're done. Timeless social media practices, not just, the new bright, shiny thing. There are things
Mm,
that will never go out of style, such as making sure that you're being authentic and, connecting with your audience. And a lot of the things that we discussed today will be in there. Things like that will be in there as well. So just take better pictures and know what to do with them when you're done.
yeah, I love that. And then where can we find you? And guys, if you didn't catch that, what Sarah said, in the show notes, I'm actually going to put a link so you can go in and be able to tap onto that, so you'll know when her app is live in March. But also tell everybody where they can find you, Sarah, on social media.
Well, thank you so much. Yes, you can go to sarahd.photos on Instagram. That's where I'm most active, because as a photographer, that's my favorite place to go, because it's picture oriented, a lot. So
Right.
um, that's my place.
That's your
And
place.
that's my place. And if you're in Southern California and you want to know about photo shoots, go ahead and send me a DM or check out my website and learn a little bit more about my services. SarahDphotos.com.
SarahDphotos.com. Well, thank you so much, Sarah. I appreciate you. And ladies, anybody listening, if you can think of someone right now, which I know you can, that can benefit from this show, be a blessing, share the love, and just all you have to do is click, share this link. You can send it via text, email, put it on your social media, whatever. It helps Sarah and I, but it also, you could be a blessing to someone else that needs to hear this episode. So thank you again, Sarah. I appreciate you so much.
Thank you so much, Sherry. It was wonderful being here.
Thank you for tuning in all the way through Real Girl Talk Show. Make sure you subscribe anywhere you listen to podcasts. And if you happen to have iTunes, would you do me a favor and leave me a review on the show? I know you're going to leave me a 5-star, right? That's the way that I can reach more and more people around the world. Remember, whatever you wish to receive, you have to first give. And I know that you're the kind of person that wants to reach people all over the world and inspire them. You can copy this link and share it with your family and friends. Share it on social media. Remember, people need to be uplifted and inspired more than ever today. Thank you so much for being a part of Real Girl Talk community. And until next time, go after your dreams, create your vision, and truly be the person God intended you to be. Healthy, happy, whole, and full of life. Love you.